Fact 50. 60 sovereign states. If we travel back to the year 1900, there were only about 60 widely recognized independent countries on Earth. This is a stark contrast to the nearly 200 countries we recognize today. The low count in 1900 was primarily due to the vast colonial empires of European powers, which controlled most of Africa, Asia, and Oceania as territories rather than sovereign nations. Fact 49. The most rain in 24 hours. Next up, we make our way to Phoc Phoc on the island of La Réunion in the Indian Ocean. This small French territory holds the world record for the most rainfall in a 24-hour period, set in January 1966 during Tropical Cyclone Denise. A staggering 71.8 inches, 1,825 millimeters, of rain fell in just one day. To put that in perspective, that is more rain in 24 hours than most major cities like London or Paris receive in 3 entire years. Fact 48. Lower than 1 million. Out of the 51 countries often recognized in Europe, exactly 9 of them have populations of fewer than 1 million people. These microstates and small nations range from the tiny Vatican City to larger islands like Malta. Furthermore, a significant middle ground exists. 24 European countries have a population between 1 million and 10 million, meaning that nearly half of all European nations are smaller in population than the city of London or Paris. Fact 47. Madagascar, home of the Seesaw Rivers. Let's make our way to Madagascar, home to some of the strangest river patterns in nature. Unlike most rivers that follow a direct path to the sea, many Malagasy rivers perform a massive U-turn. Because the island was tilted in 2 different directions by tectonic forces over millions of years, the rivers were forced to reorganize, often circling the central plateau for hundreds of kilometers before finding a gap in the mountains to escape to the coast. This broken hydrology created isolated pockets of land, acting as a speciation pump that forced wildlife and plants to evolve into the unique species we see today. Fact 46. Fastest lava flows. We remain on the shores of Africa, where we notice that Africa is home to the fastest lava flows on the planet. To witness this, we have to make our way to Mount Nyiragongo, a volcano located in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The lava from this volcano flows so fast that it once flowed at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour back in 1977. Tragically, hundreds of people met their demise during this event, but this river of fire represents the fastest lava flows on record to date. Fact 45. Italy's ever-flowing volcano. We make our way to Europe so that we can take a look at the ever-flowing volcano that lies on Italian shores. Referred to as Stromboli, this is a volcano that is located on Stromboli Island off the northern coast of Sicily. Apparently, it has been erupting constantly for about 2,000 years now. It has been so prolific with its eruptions that it is referred to as the lighthouse of the Mediterranean. Fact 44. The sunniest city in the world. According to the Guinness World Records, Yuma, Arizona is the sunniest city on Earth. It basks in an average of 4,015 hours of sunshine every year, which means the sun is shining for about 91% of its total daylight hours. This is an incredible amount when compared to a sunny European city like Madrid, Spain, which averages around 2,800 hours, or London, which struggles to reach even 1,600 hours of sunshine per annum. Fact 43. Nuclear weapons. There are currently 9 countries on the planet that possess nuclear weapons: the United States, Russia, the UK, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel. While this list is small, it used to be slightly different. In the 1990s, South Africa became the only country to have built its own nuclear weapons and then completely dismantled them. Additionally, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and Belarus all inherited massive nuclear stockpiles after the fall of the Soviet Union, but eventually chose to return them to Russia to become non-nuclear states. Fact 42. Taiwan's political status. Considered to be one of the biggest geopolitical debates of our time, we might cause a stir when we tell you that the status of Taiwan is complex. While China considers Taiwan to be part of its territory, the Taiwanese claim that they operate independently with their own government systems and agencies. Despite this, most countries maintain diplomatic relations with China and acknowledge its position, though many maintain unofficial ties with Taiwan. Fact 41. Russian misconception. Making our way back to Russia, we find that Russia is not a landlocked country. Contrary to popular belief, Russia isn't landlocked. In fact, it is actually bordered by 13 different seas, which gives it access to the Arctic, the Atlantic, and the Pacific Oceans. Fact 40. Country with the most pyramids. Interestingly enough, you'd find that the country with the most pyramids is not Egypt. Instead, you'd find that it's actually Sudan, which has about 240, as opposed to Egypt that has 138 pyramids. If these facts are blowing your mind, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's way more coming. Fact 39. The lowest average country in the world. While countries like the Netherlands may be considered to be the lowest country in the world, as its highest peak is about 322 meters above sea level, on average, you could say that the Maldives is the lowest average country in the world, as its average ground elevation is about 1.5 meters above sea level. Fact 38. Highest country in the world. On the other hand, you will find that the highest country in the world is Bhutan. It turns out that it has an average elevation of about 3,280 meters above sea level. When you put that into scale, it is twice as tall as the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. This is due to the fact that 80% of Bhutan is mountainous. Fact 37. Snow ski resorts in Africa. It might sound insane to some of you, but yes, there are snow resorts in Africa. To witness this for yourself, all you have to do is make your way to Morocco. Thanks to the Atlas Mountains, many visitors can make the most of Ukaimadin, which just happens to be Africa's highest ski resort as it sits at 3,200 meters elevation. Fact 36. The Iron Train of Mauritania. While still on the shores of Africa, we can take a look at the Iron Train of Mauritania. Considered to be the 3-kilometer desert monster of Africa, this massive train makes its way across the desert every day. This iron ore train that is about 3 kilometers long, if you can believe it, is used to transport iron ore from the Sahara to the Atlantic coast. Tough and rugged, this is one of the most interesting attractions in the country. Fact 35. The rainiest mountain in Africa. To witness this wet terrain, we have to make our way to Mount Cameroon. This behemoth structure experiences more than 400 inches of rain every year. That's 10 times what rainy places like Seattle get. At least all that water makes the mountain area bright and green with fauna and the wildlife living there. Fact 34. Upward waterfalls. This strange phenomenon exists in the self-governing territory of the Faroe Islands. Within this 18-island archipelago, the crazy winds of the North Atlantic create waterfalls that flow upwards. Fact 33. Prime Meridian. Did you guys know that the Prime Meridian, that is the imaginary 0-degree longitude line, runs directly through Greenwich, England? Isn't that interesting? This point was established at the Royal Observatory by Sir George Biddell Airy, a mathematician and astronomer, back in 1851. Following the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C. in 1884, this point became the official standard when it came to dividing the world into its eastern and western parts. Visit this spot to see the gold line that marks it during the day and the green lasers that represent it at night. Fact 32. The town with no name. Reading like something out of a Western movie, there are many who live in a town called No Name, Colorado. This strange place came to be because when they were registering this town, someone wrote No Name as a placeholder on the official documents. As you can imagine, no one ever changed it and the name stuck ever since. Fact 31. Cyprus. Looking at any decent map, you may come to believe that Cyprus is not part of Europe. In fact, if you look at said map, you'd figure that the island is part of Asia. However, much of the culture is European. It is even part of the European Union and also uses the euro currency. Yet, you will find that geographically, Cyprus is very much part of Asia. In fact, it is located in the eastern Mediterranean, within proximity to countries such as Turkey, Syria, and Lebanon. Fact 30. No capital. As weird as it might sound, there are some countries that do not have any capital territories. This is what is taking place in the tiny country of Nauru. Located in the Pacific, the tiny island nation just makes use of government offices that are located all over the country. Fact 29. Shortest commercial flight. Let's take a look at the shortest commercial flight on the planet. Apparently, there is a flight that takes place in the Orkney Islands in Scotland. This flight takes less than a minute, in that it only takes 57 seconds for this flight to travel from one island to another as it covers a distance of 1.7 miles. Fact 28. No traffic lights. Another interesting fact about the country of Bhutan. Turns out that as they only have one major junction in the capital city of Thimphu, the country doesn't have any traffic lights. Instead, the police officers work hard to conduct traffic in the country. There are also road signs to help prevent any confusion on these streets. Fact 27. The cleanest country in Asia. Looking at the record books, we found that the cleanest country in Asia just happens to be one of the smallest countries in the largest continent in the world. We are talking about Singapore, one of the most advanced nations on Earth. Interestingly enough, it is able to remain so clean despite also being the most densely populated country in the continent. Fact 26. The lowest point in Africa. To witness this, we have to make our way to Djibouti. There, we can visit Lake Assal, which is considered to be the lowest point in Africa because it lies about 155 meters below sea level. Also considered to be the third lowest point in the world. It is one of the saltiest bodies of water you can find on the planet today. Fact 25. Melting glaciers on Kilimanjaro. While some may even be surprised to learn that Mount Kilimanjaro even has glaciers, they may be even more surprised that those same glaciers are disappearing. In fact, those glaciers have shrunk by over 85% since 1912. Scientists predict they may disappear entirely by the 2030s if current trends continue. A combination of climate change and reduced snowfall is to blame. If you're enjoying this, show some love, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Fact 24. The Lubombo Bone. Ever heard of the Lubombo Bone? Turns out that this is considered to be mankind's first calculator. Found in the Lubombo Mountains, it is believed that 40,000 years ago, our ancestors used the fibula bone of a baboon with 29 marks to monitor lunar cycles. Experts even believe that they were used to help women monitor their menstrual cycles. Simply amazing. Fact 23. The town that lives under one roof. The village of Whittier, Alaska, is home to around 220 people, and nearly all of them live in a single 14-story building called Bagach Towers. The building contains apartments, the clinic, the post office, a church, and a store all under one roof. Whittier gets 250 inches of snow annually and is only accessible through a 2.5-mile tunnel shared with train traffic. When winter storms hit, nobody leaves the building for weeks. The entire community exists in one structure because the weather makes separate buildings impractical, making Whittier the most concentrated town in America. Fact 22. Town with no shadows. Interesting tidbit, right? How does a town exist with no shadows? To witness this phenomenon, you have to make your way to Norway. There, you will find that the town of Rjukan's. The town square does not receive any direct sunlight for about 6 months each year. Unbelievable, right? To battle this, the town installed giant mirrors on a peak nearby. This allowed sunlight to reflect into the town. Science is truly amazing. Fact 21. The unique river of the Okavango Delta. Let's make our way to the Okavango Delta. Located in Botswana, this river is unique because it tends to flood during the dry season. Apparently, the waters begin their journey following the falling of rain in the Angolan highlands. Following this, it slowly makes its way to Botswana. After making this 1,000-kilometer journey to Botswana and arriving between the months of April and June, the swelling river peaks during the months of June and August, which just happened to be the dry season in Botswana. Rather than shriveling up, the basin swells from the 4,000 to 6,000 square kilometers range to the 12,000 square kilometers range. Fact 20. Portuguese as an official language. Today, there are 9 sovereign countries on Earth that recognize Portuguese as an official language. These include Portugal and Brazil, along with several nations in Africa and Asia: Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, São Tomé and Príncipe, Equatorial Guinea, and Timor-Leste, East Timor. Collectively, these nations are known as the Lusophone world, representing over 260 million speakers across 4 continents. Fact 19. Ocean borders. There are actually 3 countries in the world that border 3 different oceans: Canada, Russia, and the United States. All 3 nations share coastlines along the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic Oceans. This is a rare geographical trait caused by their massive northern landmasses stretching across the top of the globe. Interestingly, despite having the longest coastline in the world, Canada's Arctic border is mostly frozen for much of the year. Fact 18. The largest continuous forest in the world. The Amazon rainforest is considered to be the biggest forest in the world. At least that is what we have been told. While it is the largest tropical rainforest in the world, the largest forest in the world is actually the boreal forest, also referred to as the taiga forest. This is a 17 million square kilometer forest that stretches across Canada, Russia, Alaska, USA, Scandinavia, and parts of Mongolia. While it is twice as large as the Amazon rainforest, it is much cooler and much more coniferous than the South American forest. Fact 17. The largest sinkhole in the world. Next up, we make our way to China so that we can visit Shaozhai Tiankeng. Referred to as the Heavenly Pit, it is located in Chongqing and is 662 meters deep, 626 meters long, and 511 meters wide. It is also a world of its own, so much so that it has its own forest and essentially its own ecosystem. Fact 16. The best airport in the world. We make our way back to Singapore so that we can take a look at the best airport in the world. Referred to as the Singapore Changi Airport, it is responsible for handling more than 60 million people every year. These people get to enjoy features such as the Butterfly Garden, the Sunflower Garden, gaming zones, cinemas, and even a rooftop swimming pool. Fact 15. Happiest country in Asia. Taiwan, despite being in a political tussle with China over their independence, is considered to be the happiest country in Asia. A close second is Singapore, as they both are rated to have scores of 6.5 according to the World Happiness Report of 2025. We assume this is due to the high GDP per capita, the strong social support the people receive, and the low level of corruption that exists there, among other factors. Fact 14. The unhappiest country in Asia. On the other hand, you'd find that the title of the unhappiest country in Asia goes to Afghanistan. Crazy situation, especially as they have experienced so much conflict and insecurity over the last few decades. Poverty makes things worse as this also affects the health and the life expectancy of the people. Fact 13. The connector of two continents. Looking at the Suez Canal, we can see how this man-made canal that was opened in 1869 connects two continents. Measuring 193 kilometers in length, we find that the Suez Canal goes further than connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. We actually see how it is the boundary between Africa and Asia. 12% of global trade also goes through this waterway, thereby making it one of the most important strategic geographic locations in the world. If you've made it this far, you're hooked. So smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more mind-blowing facts. Fact 12. Surfing hippos. That's right, surfing hippos. To witness this fascinating scene, we have to make our way to Luangou National Park. Located in Gabon, we find hippos going against their nature by plunging into salt water so that they can ride the waves provided by the Atlantic Ocean. Truly fascinating stuff, as you can also see elephants and buffaloes enjoying the best of the beach in this national park. Fact 11. The alkaline Lake Turkana. We return to Lake Turkana to discuss its unique chemistry. As the largest alkaline lake in the world, you will find that Lake Turkana is so rich in sodium carbonate that the water becomes highly alkaline. Add the fact that it contains high levels of fluoride, and you will find that the water is too toxic to drink. Fact 10. Abandoned villages in Russia. According to the 2010 census in Russia, they found that there are over 19,000 towns and villages that were pretty much empty with no permanent residents. This was more consistent in the northern and eastern regions of the country. Crazy to consider, especially as Russia is the largest country in the world. Fact 9. Most volcanically active country in the world. Looking across the globe, we found that Indonesia is currently the most volcanically active nation on planet Earth. They have a total of 130 active volcanoes in existence today. This is most likely due to the fact that it is sitting on the Pacific Ring of Fire while spanning the location of the Indo-Australian, Eurasian, and Pacific tectonic plates. In recent years, there have been dozens of confirmed eruptions from Indonesia's many active volcanoes. Fact 8. Lake Superior. Turns out that some lakes and rivers are so big they can be as big as a state. Just take a look at Lake Superior. With a surface area of 82,000 square kilometers, it is so big that it is as large as South Carolina. It is also bigger than countries like Ireland, roughly the size of Austria, and it could soak up the entire western region of Nigeria. That is what you get from a body of water that is responsible for 10% of the planet's surface freshwater. Fact 7. Monaco does not have its own airport. Despite being a luxurious country that is famous for its yachts and its fabulous casinos, we have noted that Monaco does not have its own airport. Odd, right? Especially as so many people seem to make their way there. So in order to fly to Monaco, you actually have to fly to Nice in France. From there, you can get a car or a helicopter to Monaco. Talk about doing it in style. Fact 6. Never been colonized. Believe it or not, the only country that is considered to have escaped the displeasure of colonization in Africa was Ethiopia. The Italians gave it a good go back in the day, but they eventually got defeated by the Ethiopian forces in the Battle of Adwa in 1896. It was briefly occupied by Mussolini's fascists during 1936 to 1941, but other than that, Ethiopia has been free for as long as it can remember. Fact 5. The largest river delta in the world. We make our way to Bangladesh so that we can observe what proves to be the largest river delta in the world. For this, we have to make our way to the edge of the Himalayas, where rivers turn into oceans. Here, the mighty Ganges and the Brahmaputra rivers come together to form the largest river delta in the world. Referred to as the Sundarbans Delta, it covers more than 100,000 square kilometers. Fact 4. Home of religions. Looking through the history books, you will find that Asia is the birthplace of all the major religions in the world. Be it Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, you name it, it came out of Asia. Fact 3. Median age in Africa. Interestingly enough, you may find that the median age in Africa is 19 years old. Suffice it to say, it's fair to come to the conclusion that Africa has a young population, with the median age in countries like Nigeria being even lower at around 18. Fact 2. Commuting elephants. Nature has all sorts of wild phenomena, doesn't it? Deep in the heart of the jungle in Africa, you'd see that there is an ancient highway in the forests in the Central African Republic. Referred to as Dzanga, it is also known as the Village of Elephants. This is where hundreds of elephants gather and socialize every day. Fact 1. The last absolute monarch. Looking at world history, you'd find that most monarchs of countries have given up a good chunk of their power over the centuries. Don't tell that to King Mswati III of Eswatini. Having ascended to the throne all the way back in 1986, he became one of the last known absolute monarchs on the planet at the age of 18. Since then, he has held absolute power in this southern African country. Insane stuff, right? That's just the beginning. Geography is the gift that keeps on giving. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you never miss another fact that rewrites everything.